Yes, welcome to another video. I'm Lewis. Above me is John. Hope you guys are doing okay. We're going to go through the Man City exodus over the last week or so. There's loads of players now apparently unhappy or want to leave. So we're going to go into it and discuss 5 and give our views on each of the 5 players. Let us know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section below. Make sure you smash a like on the video as well. We're going to go for 1,000 likes, guys, so when it helps towards that, massively appreciated. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Okay, so like I say, we lost the Champions League final, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's rumours that some players are unhappy, some might want to leave. Obviously, just because someone's unhappy, first of all, doesn't mean they actually want to leave, innit? So we need to, you know, just clarify that. You know,
there's a difference between the two. You can be unhappy at a club, and then things can change around for you. Like, ironically, like Cancello last season seemed to be a bit unhappy, came back and had a new mentality about him, and seemed a lot happier after that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean they want to go. Yeah,
exactly. Right, well, let's get into the first one of the first players on there. There are quite a few. We're just going to stick with these 5 though. Raheem Sterling. He's someone who, well, I don't know if he actually wants to leave. I don't think that's ever been said, but people are talking about Raheem Sterling, right? So this isn't one that's really being pushed saying he wants to leave, but we're in a kind of a dodgy situation here. And this is the reason why. Basically, one, he's only got 2 years left on his contract. So you kind of need to make a decision, in my opinion, this summer as to what you do with Raheem Sterling. Do you either sell him or do you give him a new contract? Now, the problem with that is, if you give him a new contract, he's going to probably want big cash, you know what I mean? And he deserves it. You know, he's played well for us over the last couple of years. This season, he's not done as well, but his numbers are still good. He's still averaging a goal or an assist every 2 games, so it's still decent numbers. And he's going to demand big cash. And the problem with that is that if you give it him, some fans will say, and maybe even some of the players will say, based on his performances this year, why is he getting the big cash when he, based on this season, he doesn't deserve it? That's what some players might say, innit? So this is a bit of a weird one. You can't just let him run down his contract, though, because he's an £80 million player, minimum, in my opinion. And if he goes down to a year, that's going to knock off next season 30-40 million.
Yeah, I don't see us doing that. Basically, learn from your mistakes, innit? We can't have a Leroy Sané situation again, where Bayern got him on the cheap, and we definitely don't want to be selling Sterling on the cheap if we were to sell him. I don't see that being the case, because like you say, I think this is just an off year for him. But like another thing is, like, it's not coming from his camp. None of this, like him leaving, is coming from his camp. It's all the media are pushing this very heavily, saying that he's up for sale. He's on our summer transfer list. We don't know what the club are going to do. But obviously, that's a big decision for them to make. But like you said, bro, they need to make it now, because we can't offer him a new contract and that, and then obviously then try and bin him off straight away, because that ain't going to happen. Also, we can't just allow him to stay here and run down his contract for the next 2 years, because then we just lose out on massive cash.
It's a bit of an interesting one, and you know, I would quite like to see Raheem Sterling back in the side with a striker in the team.
This is the key, bro.
I'm thinking that maybe the lack of a striker has really affected him more than most. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. But I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to do this on all 5. If you're City now, what do you do? Do you sell him or do you keep him, Bray? What are you saying?
Contrary to what people want in our chat and that, I keep Raheem Sterling. I keep him.
So that means you have to give him a new contract, because you can't keep him, innit? And then so you have to re-sign him up to a new contract. And
I fully believe that will happen as well. I fully believe Manchester City will give Raheem Sterling a new contract this year, and he will stay at the club, and we'll see what he's like when we have an actual striker in there.
I think that would help. Right, Laporte. Let's move on to Laporte. Laporte's only played, guys, 27 league games this season. Now, obviously, it's kind of tricky for him, because he is a top 5 player, centre-back in the world. You know, he's probably top 3, truth be told. And I still believe, you know, out of quality, he's probably still our best centre-back. I still think he's better than Ruben Diaz, personally, when he's on form and he's bang at the races. But the problem is, none of that matters if he doesn't have the relationship that John Stones and Diaz have together. And I've mentioned this before. A lot of people are like, yeah, but he's better than John Stones. He might be better than John Stones, but John Stones and Diaz have a relationship which is better than Laporte and Diaz. Or, you know what I mean? So when you're defending, it's very crucial for both the centre-backs to be in connect with each other and know exactly where they're going to be. And with John Stones and Diaz, it just seems that they've got some mad thing going on where they know exactly what's going to happen. They've got each other's backs, and that's worth more than someone who's slightly better than John Stones. Now, this is the problem with Laporte. You know, I really love Laporte and I want him to stay. However, if he come to the football club and said, look, I really love it here, but at the end of the day, I'm not playing football, and a player of my ability needs to be playing football, I want to leave, and someone comes in for a bid like Real Madrid or something, could you really be annoyed with the guy for getting off? I know a lot of people are like, well, he should stay and fight for his place, but he might want to do that, but in his head he's like, well, what about if I don't win it back? What about if John Stones and Diaz just keep this mad run going forever and I'm just stuck there trying to get back in the team, playing well, but because I don't have this mad connection with Diaz or Stones, I'm not getting in the team. He's going to go, isn't he? I think, Bray, I really don't want it, but I have a feeling that Laporte could be on his way out. And I don't think it's like him saying, I hate it here, I want to get off. I think it's just saying, listen, lads, I'm a top 5 centre-back in the world. I need to be playing football. And as a result, I've got to get off. And that's why I'm worried about that, but I think it could happen.
I think this is one of the more likely ones on the list, which is a shame because I honestly love Laporte. I think he's really, really good. But you look at some teams like Real Madrid is probably the biggest example with them losing out on Sergio Ramos. They'd probably come in with a bid for him. I think they'd be interested, and if they did, it'd be hard for him to not want to leave with the fact that he's not in the first team at the moment. He's not like everyone is saying Stones Diaz. However, like you said, Laporte is quality, and it would be down to him. It'd be very much down to him. If he wanted to stay, he has to understand that he's going to have to fight for his place, and he might not be the kind of guy who wants to do that. But if he is, like you say, there's no guarantee that he will get his place back.
That's the problem.
I just hope in his head and in his heart he wants to stay. I hope he wants to stay and fight for that spot because, do you know what I mean? It's so nice having these 3 centre-backs that are absolutely quality, and I do think he'll get a lot of game time next season.
The only way I see him potentially staying, unless he just says, I like it here, I'm chilling, even if I'm third choice. The only way I see him staying is if Pep says to him, the beginning of next season, you and Diaz are going to play. And
some reassurances.
And it's your spot until you fuck up, basically. That's how I'm looking at it, but I think Laporte could be sold, not because we want to sell him, just because he wants to leave. And to be honest, could I blame him? Probably not. It's a sad situation.
I'd be absolutely good.
I'd want big cash though. I'd want 65, 70 million, easy. Right, let's move on to the next one. And a bit of a weird one, this one, guys, because this is someone who's played a lot of football. And it's Bernardo Silva. 45 games he's played. All right, not all of them are starting, but a lot of them are starting. He's played every single Champions League game. I'm looking at it now. He's played a hell of a lot of Premier League games. The only real big games that he didn't play was the EFL final, which he come on for 3 minutes in the last obviously last.
That was also in the
minutes.
midst of Champions League things, isn't it?
Yeah, and he didn't play the FA Cup semi-final, but again, he must have been rested for that one. But he does play. He played the final, the Champions League. You can't get any bigger than that. He's played every single game in the Champions League. He plays a hell of a lot of Premier League matches. This is a weird one, because I remember early in the season we did a video on Bernardo Silva, and it was.
Where does he fit in? Yeah.
Does he have a future? Because is he in this weird situation that I always say that James Milner found himself in, where he can never really hold down a position. He's just sort of like playing where people need rests, or he just sort of like fills in the gap. Do you know what I mean? He's never really like this is my position and I've got this and no one's getting it from me. That's the only thing that I can think of Bernardo wanting. Either that, or he just wants a new challenge, or he really doesn't get on with Pep. But I don't see that, because Pep seems to love him. Whenever Pep's talk about him in the press conferences, he always raves about Bernardo Silva. So the only thing that I can logically think of is, one, he just doesn't like it here and he just wants a new challenge, or two, him not holding down a position of his own he really doesn't like, and he wants to go somewhere where he's going to get paid less. He might not win as many trophies, but he'd rather just play right wing every single game or something like that. I don't know. It's a bit weird one. It's out of nowhere.
It is a weird one for him to be there. However, what I would say is that the rumours apparently were from his unhappiness were apparently from the beginning of the season. If you go back to the beginning of the season, that is when we did the video that we were talking about, and that is when that he wasn't getting a lot of game time. So I think that was when it happened. But he has played a lot of games since then.
Yes.
So, I mean, like you say, he's played so much this year. Pep loves him. Obviously Pep loves him because he plays in pretty much all the big games, and he's smashed it. He's had a very good year for City. So this is probably one of the ones where I'm like, I don't see this happening at all. I'd be absolutely devastated. I think as City fans, we all love Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
But I don't see this happening. I generally don't see it happening. I think Bernardo will stay. And I think for him to leave, it will be 100% Bernardo's decision and not coming from the club. I think it'd have to be drive from Bernardo.
Yeah. I mean, Mike McGrath from The Telegraph is saying that clubs around Europe think that they can get Bernardo Silva out of the football club. One of the problems that I think that these clubs will have is that City value this guy very, very highly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's an excellent player. For me, I wouldn't be selling him for anything less than 70 million or 80 million
His work rate, boy, is incredible.
But the problem is, if you look at his stats aren't actually that good. He's played 45 games this year, scored only 5 and assisted 9. Is someone really going to pay 70, 80 million pounds for someone with those stats? Because it's not what he gives you in terms of his goals and his assists. It's everything else. Like you say, it's his work rate. He tracks back defensively. He's sound. He can get the odd goal here or there. But I just don't think. I think if Bernardo comes to us and we're like, I want to leave, I think City would be like, right, okay, we want at least 70, 80 million pounds. And I think teams around Europe, I don't see how they could possibly meet that, given those stats. And as a result, yeah, I don't think Bernardo will leave. It's a weird one that I'd like to know, if it is true, what the actual reason is. Is he falling out with someone? Does he want to play in a single position? It's a bit of a weird one. Who's next, Bray?
Next up, bro, we've got João Cancello. João Cancello, obviously, he had a rough start to his time at City. He had a bit of a switch up, and when he came back after, do you know what I mean, Project Restart, that's when we kind of saw more of him. That's when we saw like that he has a bit of fight about him, and apparently Pep said that he's had a whole mentality change, and you know what I mean, he's been speaking to him and that, and he's completely switched the way he works, and now he's finding himself in the team. He's played a lot of games this season, I think. He's been playing a lot. I think Zinchenko's kind of held it down.
Games.
Exactly, bro. But Zinchenko's been holding it down recently. That's all I would say. But that's the left back side, and the right back side for a big part of the season. I was saying, how is Kyle Walker even going to get this right back spot back?
Yeah,
because that's how good Cancello was. He was unreal. So I think it'd be a massive loss to lose Cancello. I think he's a great option at right back and offers you something completely different to what Kyle Walker does. But what I would say is throughout the season was going on before he hit this bad dip of form, he was also improving defensively. So his all-round game was getting very, very good. He just went through a bad patch of form and then has fallen out of favour. And maybe the unrest coming from Cancelo's side is he's not getting... I mean, you could say he's not getting enough, or maybe he wants the spot permanently, but... Well, it's difficult when you're in this squad.
Yeah. The thing is with Cancello, right? I'm looking at the games that he played then. So he played the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea where we got beat 1-0, played the full 90 minutes. He played the final against Spurs in the EFL Trophy, played the full 90 minutes. He played a lot of Premier League games, right? Whether it's left back or right back or whatever. The only big games that he missed was the semi-final of the Champions League and the final of the Champions League.
Zinchenko.
The one thing that I would say about this one, if it's true, and obviously we don't know if it's true, is it would really, really piss me off if he's crying now about not playing these big Champions League games, because it was his own fault. It was his coming out of February into March. He had a position on that pitch nailed down, whether it be left back or right back, whatever. He was going to play. He only has himself to blame in not playing those big Paris Saint-Germain game and the Chelsea game because of his form. His form was atrocious. There was countless times when he was rubbish. And cost us a goal against United as well at home. He fell completely out of form. He went from probably our best player up there with Mr. Whippy during that period to one of our worst performers, and it was crazy. So for him to turn around now, if it's true, and say, "Oh, I don't like it. I'm not playing you. You've dropped me. I want to leave." I'd be like, right, that's not that. It's your own fault that you didn't play that Champions League game. To be honest,
I'd say if he does come out and say that he does want to leave, I think his attitude is in the wrong place. I wouldn't, because it's not nice to see that, especially because at the end of the day we have a big squad, and he one of the people will understand he has a big squad, but he's played a lot of games this season, which is a massive improvement from last year. And I think if he does stay, which I want him to stay, I think he'll play a lot more games next year. If we can unlock that little. That part, the glimpse of Cancello that we saw for that period of time for a full season, that's unreal, and that's an absolute asset to any team.
I hope he doesn't leave, because when he was going through that period of mad form, he was absolutely world class.
He was calling him Pirlo, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Right, the final player, Rodri. This is a very strange one, guys. Guy's played 53 football matches for us this season. I'm looking at it. Okay, so what's happened then? So he didn't play the semi-final of the Champions League. He didn't play the final of the Champions League. He did play the full semi-final of the Chelsea game in the FA Cup. And in the EFL Cup, he was sparingly used. He come on as a sub against United in the semi-final, only got 10 minutes. And he come on as a sub against Tottenham in the final, got 6 minutes. But this one baffles me. He might be a little frustrated that he didn't get picked for the Champions League final, you know what I mean? And that's fair enough, but I just don't see this. I don't see, unless he's homesick I don't see why this guy would be wanting to leave. You know, he's got Fernandinho next to him. If Fernandinho's got a new contract and obviously not leaving, we're not going to sign a new CDM. So it's going to be him and a 36-year-old Fernandinho next season. He's going to play the same amount of minutes, or if not more, than he did this year. And he played 53. It's probably up there, one of our most played players this season. So I don't see this one. I think this is just I just think this is rubbish. This one, and I just don't see it. I don't see this possibly happening, bro. I don't see it unless he's homesick. That's the only possible reason.
I kind of feel like this one is just Rodri's name being thrown into the hat. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just an extra add-on to this, which isn't really a thing. I don't see Rodri wanting to leave at all, unless he's like the only way is that he's, like you say, he's homesick, or he's actually falling out with Pep Guardiola over something like not starting the Champions League final. That's the only thing I can think. But then I do look at the situation with the Champions League final. I wouldn't have started Rodri anyway. I would have started Fernandinho. And also, he was making a lot of mistakes in his past few games. He was making quite a few mistakes. So I think... But he has had a very good season. He has had an incredible season. He's had an incredible season. I think every single preview that we did, pretty much, for any of the games, we picked Rodri. Yeah. Near enough for all of them, we picked Rodri in the starting lineup, and that shows how much of a good year he's had. So... Do I want him to leave? Not a chance I want this guy to leave. I think he's still got a massive future. He's only young. And I think he can keep on going and keep holding that position as his own next year and still learn a lot from Fernandinho. So
yeah, I agree.
I don't see this one ever happening. I think not anytime soon anyway.
He's 24 years old. Where else is he going to win as many trophies as this? And to be honest, if he stays at City... He's probably going to have a, I just think that, where else could you go, mate? You're not going to get the same wages here as you're going to go elsewhere. You're not going to win as many trophies as you're going to win elsewhere. I mean, you can say that about pretty much every player anyway. But for someone like him, being coached by Pep Guardiola, I think it'd be a really, really stupid move for Rodri to leave.
I think it'd be a miss.
I don't see him leaving. Let us know, guys, about the 5. So who have we got then? We've got Sterling. Would you sell him or would you keep him? Laporte, what are we saying with him? Bernardo, Cancello and Rodri. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Truthfully, I don't want any of these players to leave, innit? But, I do expect a couple of big names to go, so we'll just have to see what happens.
Also, I think if they do want to leave, then you shouldn't be keeping any players at your club that do actually want to leave.
Yeah, that's a good point. Harry Kane. Right, guys, we'll leave it there, innit? So smash a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one. See you in a bit.